The Industrial Efficiency Podcast by CloEE.
Hello, everyone. This is the Industrial Efficiency Podcast by CloEE. And my name is Alex. I'm co-founder and CEO of the CloEE. And we are IoT SaaS solution that helps industrial enterprise to connect their CNC machine tools and industrial equipment in one of the fastest way on the market in order to affect the OEE and decrease the downtimes and measure the carbon emissions. Our team has more than 10 years of the expertise in Industry 4.0, and we connected more than 20,000 CNC machines through this period of time and decided to develop a solution that will be able to disrupt the Industry 4.0 for the end customers' purposes. And we created this podcast for industrial professionals in order to discuss the topics on how to solve industrial problems, such as the raising the quality, managing the cost, implementing such products, motivating the staff, and basically how to count the financial value and effects of the digitalization in your manufacturing. And so we have our first guest, the NJ Sun. He's the Chief Operating Officer of the Singapore-based biotech startup Dynaside Biosciences, and he is also one of the advisors of the CloEE. NJ has an expertise of more than 30 years in the industrial sector, and before the Dynaside Biosciences, he was a senior operation manager at the Mencast. This is a Singapore-based marine company where he was responsible for overseeing the operations and nurturing the culture of the continuous improvement, aka lean management, and basically focused on the root cause analysis and problem solving of the downtime reasons in the enterprise. So, hi NJ, thank you for joining us today. Can we talk with you about your expertise and maybe your major goals that you had in the digitalization of manufacturing at the Mencast and Industry 4.0, basically?
Hey, Alex, thanks for having me. And it's nice to see you again. It has been a great experience working with you in the past when we implement Industry 4.0. And it is a very great to have your team working with us to solve the issues of the productivity and efficiency using your solution. So as you mentioned, Mencast is a Singapore Exchange listed company focused on the propulsion technology and precision engineering. So it has the state-of-the-art CNC machine shop focusing on the small volume and high mix production, where Industry 4.0 is going to have the biggest impact in order to improve the productivity and efficiency. So as you know, in Singapore or any developed country, it's always a difficult task for the operations to hire CNC machine operators. It became a growing issue that even with more orders coming in, that we do not have the insufficient. We don't have this. Can you cut a section of it, or I have to keep talking?
You can keep talking. We will cut it. Yeah.
Okay. It became a growing issue that we do not have the sufficient workforce to complete the customer orders on time. So productivity improvement is always the focus that when we try to implement the digital transformation project.
Yeah. And also, this is clear that labor issues, but maybe a few more things. What about energy-related costs and maybe the sustainability, at least from this 2022-2023 perspective? How critical it is for at least for the Singapore and the states that bordering you nowadays?
Singapore is in the process of implementing carbon tax. So which each company that have to pay extra fees for the carbon tax, or they have to buy the carbon tax if it does not have the enough quota. So in the marine industry, what I heard is that the European union is also pushing for the marine industry companies to keep track of the carbon footprint of their products in order to qualify for the market entrance. So that is being a daunting task, try to trace back all the carbon footprint of all the products in the processes.
So it's like additional factor that influence manufacturers nowadays beyond of this hiring the labor, the operator. I mean, bringing them on board is also to have the sustainability topic in mind. And maybe share more about the processes of this digitalization of Mencast manufacturing that you have.
It is not an easy task, of course. For the digital transformation project, it is always critical to find a good partner that are not able to help you with technical installations, but also advice on how you do the reports and do the data mining from the tons of data that you collect from the devices. So fortunately, we have the Alex teams to help us, as well as we were in a project that working with our consultant that showing us how we're supposed to do the steps of implementing this project. So unique to our company, we have a kind of model that we look into the reasons and processes and the expectation of the change first. Then from there, we put the focus on the people on the shop floor. So we define the role models and we define the action plans for them, such as the supervisors and managers needs to respect the team's work, follow up with the issues captured by the system, and allocate resources to fix those issues. And if we see the good behavior change, and the management have to reward the person as part of positive reinforcement, so that the performance change can be sustained. So those implementations are on top of the hardware installations. But that is necessary to prepare the team for the digital transformation.
The Industrial Efficiency Podcast by CloEE.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's good that you are pointing out, like, I would say, the human-centric approach, at least in my opinion, that still it's about the people who's working at the factory, and it's very important to get them connected and know what they are doing and why they are doing this. At least usually whenever I'm working in the company, I'm proud to be part of the company, and whatever changes needed. I mean, of course, sometimes something to change some behavior, it could be complicated or slightly annoying, but nevertheless, if you know this ultimate goal, it helps you a lot with basically knowing why you're doing this. So looks like really good approach, in my opinion. Yeah, and what is, in your opinion, kind of the common steps that should be done maybe by other industrial professionals whenever they are either implementing the products? Because you probably heard and saw, you have a lot of friends that they try to implement technologies to track the performance at the shop floor level, or either they failed or haven't received that level of the satisfaction they plan to receive, and all of that. So maybe you can open up, based on your expertise, like how to achieve the successful results, at least.
We're looking into a few areas. It's the first thing, the business process, right? We have the digital solutions, which captures the data and look into the gaps in the productivity versus the expectation. And we also, with reports generated from system, looking into the performance measures such as OEE and the manpower utilization. And those are the foundations of that we can use to look into our business process and looking for the opportunity for change. From there, we can define the KPIs, and we can look at the how we're going to manage performance. Not only set the targets for the people, but how we're going to make the change and measure the change, as well as reinforce after the improvements. So one of the things that we emphasize a lot is the performance dialogue on the shop floor to increase the communication to a very intense level between the shop floor people to management, so that issues can be resolved day by day, and the management also aware about the requirements that coming from the bottom, so that they are making decisions based on facts. So those facts are generated from the system, which based on the data. So the numbers are able to tell you precisely where are the things that need to be improved, and what is the changing process, being implemented.
And people can add where you have a bottlenecks, for example, or why you have those bottlenecks, because
right,
machine will not tell you. I mean,
right. Sometimes it's difficult for people to realize, those gaps.
Yeah, agreed. And thank you. It's I mean, it's good. And I was also thinking that there should be like easy to use, let's say, software product that will combine data from the machine, and operators should be able to easily or smoothly at least add some information, so without bothering themselves. And then they need to know why it's kind of important to share that. Maybe there are some kind of debates to appreciate this, or at least to show them that if they properly inform us, meaning that it's like, I mean, what I saw that sometimes some people been saying that, okay, we have those operations where people just don't want to work, something like that, and basically blaming operators for any problem that they have. But in reality, the problem lays in different dimensions. So I think it's important to have a tool for the operators also to explain what happens there. So, and it's like, and what do you think? Will this help to also attract, like, since you mentioned about the labor and about the, let's see, the way how I see it, it's always complicated to attract like a yaws to the manufacturing for whatever reason, but bringing this digital tools and screens, kind of gamification process that is built in of this lean process that you're talking about, like continuous improvements, it might help to make like industrial sector again more attractive for the students, for the yaws. What do you think about that?
The change doesn't come like in one swift action. It always comes in steps. You get a report is the first step. Then you look at a gap, you implement the improvements, and that does not come easy. Let's say if the shop floor has an issue with the machine maintenance, the report is going to show that how many percent of time was wasted because the machine was down and waiting for the engineer to come to fix the machine. But then there are plenty of reasons why the engineer came in, so late to fix the machine. There could be the spare parts problem, there could be a contractor problem. So each of these issues have to be identified, and you have to provide a solution. So in the end, you are actually pushing all levels of the organization to improve, and the people have to be willing to accept it. So that's why, beginning with the project is the mindset change. Okay. You have to understand where is the performance lags, and how performance needs to be improved, and how you could recognize the performance improvement.
I think this is a nice quote. And in terms of like the beginning of the process is always the mind change. May I ask you to talk more, maybe how did you use the data and basically how this digitalization influenced maybe the results of the company, either like in the production or maybe some financial in some percentage, if you could tell about that something.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so just now we are saying that it takes process, right? So typically for our workshop, we took about 2 months to actually seeing the utilization of the machines is being improved step by step. And after we fix certain area of the issues, and we see another improvements trend, after that. So the first thing, like after we put in the system, what we immediately see is the we call it disciplinary effect, like sort of around 8-9%. Once you put in a real-time monitoring, people knows that there is a device that looking into how effectively they are working on their jobs. So it's going to push them to work faster, a little bit faster. So that is the immediate effect. But once beyond that, for the further growth opportunities, it have to come from the solutions that you implemented. We analyze the issues, and what we have done is we improve the routing process, where the raw material going to be prepared, and when they're going to deliver to the shop floor, and how the machine maintenance needs to be scheduled instead of doing a breakdown maintenance. And all of those, when we implement them step by step, we seeing creeping the utilization ratio creeping up another 8-9%. So then the labor intensity is another report that we get from system, where we look at how occupied the person on the actual machine job. So we deploy the people to the places where the workforce is required the most. And let's say if there is a shift that because of lacking of manpower, the work has been holding on for some period of time, it's not moving through the processes, and we have to study it and look into how we deploy the people in that shift, whether we should adjust the manpower between the shifts. So with that, we are gaining about like 10% of the utilization. So let's say we average it up. Overall, you are looking at like easily 20% of the efficiency improvements overall. That can translate into the operational revenue.
Yeah, this is great results, because as you mentioned, you should be efficient in terms of the limited capacity of the workers or CNC operators, meaning that like 10 to 20% basically giving you like 1 to 2 hours of machining time additionally within the shift, right? So it's like whatever anyone can estimate how much their product cost or machining time cost and see the value. By the way, you mentioned that it took 2 months. Probably you encounter some challenges during the implementation of such solutions. Of course, it was like almost 5 years ago, right, when it started. Nevertheless, I think it's pretty right now kind of others may face the similar challenges, in my opinion. So it's still pretty similar.
Putting in hardware is comparably easy job when you have a good team to work with. They can tell you where you're going to put the devices and how you look at how you can build in the reports. And there are some buttons that the operator is able to push, or they can lock in certain issues in the process. In the end, the reports came out is properly sectioned and is properly laying out where are those inefficiencies that needs to be improved. So as long as you have, good partner to work with, those are things that are easier to solve. The difficult part is the actual change that you have to implement on the shop floor. The first thing to get the data, and you look into data and see where are the things that you need to change. That is already taking time to analyze and to see where are the bits and pieces that you have to information to piece together to form a plan. And when you actually implementing it, it takes time for people to adopt the change, because the day-to-day work arrangement become more dynamic. You have to, based on the situation, you have to be flexible enough to deploy the people, and you have to adjust the production plan in order to drive for the machine utilization. That's it. It's the KPI that we set. So it takes a kind of a lot of effort for the person to actually build the KPI into their thinking process and taking to the daily jobs.
Yeah.
So people and the team, that's the most difficult part, that you need to get them to work with these new ideas.
Yeah, at least you have some ready-made reports from such systems that can help you, to start crafting like what should be the keep, at least kind of give you ideas. So ready-made reporting. By the way, you mentioned it's hard to put the hardware, and if you have people that can tell you where to put it, it always helps. I was thinking when you've been answering this question that in the beginning you should have someone that will suggest you, but such kind of technologies is usually pretty easy to consume, and at some point you just could be an expert yourself. You probably can easily implement nowadays such kind of technology at any factory, right? Even if you are not like working with it as a dedicated manager. So saying is that, like, in your opinion,
The Industrial Efficiency Podcast by CloEE.
How easily this now can be managed by, let's say, a particular factory that has 5 machines, 20 or 50, in terms of like speed of this connectivity, and maybe what actions they should follow to have this results within 2 months, because it's really good that you have results within 2 months, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, right now the technology, the web, especially the web technology, is so developed, and it's much easier than a few years ago. I think it's very easy to implement such a cloud solutions, and you don't have to really set up the servers or set up the internet or network just for the purpose of implementing these devices. You can easily adopt the web technology and cloud data storage to have all of this handled somewhere in the cloud.
Yeah, this is at least one of the core ideas that we at CloEE found, and also a few more vendors in the market, to combine the capabilities of getting the data from the equipment as fast as possible with the ability to have this data from every part of the world to consume it, especially if you have multiple facilities, which is sometimes a case. So you now can easily combine those KPIs from multiple facilities. And also, by the way, we haven't spoke about the security, but such technology just consume the data. They don't, let's say, they influence the performance of the machines, which is, in my opinion, really good. It's just like a measurement tool rather than the tool that will control something. So may I ask you to summarize maybe in 3 kind of major bullet points or topics, like in terms of the value you gain for Mencast, and like what is kind of most interesting for the audience to listen to as the summary.
Okay, first thing, the digital transformation, it builds it's a fact based. It's based on the data and collected from the real time. So it builds a fair base for such a measurement, and later on you are able to build KPIs on top of those data. Those data are fundamental, and resolve those issues, answers the concerns of the every level, the operators, the engineers, and the supervisors, or the management. So the influence, if you can solve it, is always positive. And if you use the right tools, such as performance dialogue, to make sure those are the sustainable change, and this is going to be a long-term gain for the organization to improve the efficiency and productivity. So, and these solutions, to monitor and manage the change improvements, they're also scalable. So once you are able to implement on a certain team, you get hold of the whole process. It's easier to build on the available infrastructures, doing a minimum change to scale it up to the other departments or other part of the factories. So it is game changer, compared to the past old way of managing a machine shop.
Yeah, thank you for summarizing this. Maybe in conclusion, I want to add from my end that technically nowadays, like any enterprise should just define the areas, define the equipment, and start connecting, because the technologies allows them to connect this equipment, measure the performance of it, and then even bring the added value like CO2 reporting or for example, this downtime reasons. Understand it, it's easy to implement, and once you gather this data, you can decide what you're going to do with it. You can further integrate with the ERP system, create like a really digital factory where you will have the orders flowing from one system to another, and all the processes being controlled, or basically visualize this data the way you want to. And so thank you, NJ, and for being with us today with me. And actually, this is the first
Thank you.
podcast, but I'm planning with my team to bring more people to the audience, more people to talk about topics like measurement of energy or CO2 at the manufacturing. We currently piloting with few customers, was one in the India and another in the European Union, this approach, and would love to share more about such outcomes. And please keep updated with CloEE, following our YouTube and Twitter or other media platforms where we do post, and don't hesitate to approach me. My name is Alex, but you can find me as Alexander with O at CloEE.co everywhere. So with a pleasurable response to the questions related to digitalization of industrial enterprise. So thank you, Jay, again. Cheers.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.
The Industrial Efficiency Podcast by CloEE.